Hello, everybody, and welcome back to One Hub Racing. We are here for round 5 of season 27 on F1 25, and joining alongside me in the commentary box for another fantastic track is Colin. Colin, welcome along.
Hi Nick, hi all. Yeah, this one's going to be very interesting, and you can already see we've got some rain.
We do indeed. I think that the adaptive weather system has really thrown a spanner in the works this week, combined with lots of penalties for new car parts. It's going to be an exciting round.
Oh, certainly is. So, just a reminder to anyone who isn't aware, we use a dynamic weather system. So we have various options and scenarios of weather that we use. And today's scenario for the qualifying session is going to be rain, but it will end on clear. Now, the race starts rain, then goes to overcast and is backed to rain. So the drivers are going to have to deal with wet weather conditions not only in qualifying but also in the race.
Yeah, and of course, the weather is set to approximate, so there's no guarantee exactly that every lobby will be the same, Cole. But what have you learnt from the practice sessions you've done for both qualifying and the race?
I've learned that I got it wrong twice. I still am unsure which way to do it. And the beauty of it is, because you got approximate, now what's interesting, I decided, so we did a practice session together, 20 of us. I then decided to do one on my Todd, because I wasn't happy with the car.
I have a feeling we've got an issue here, Cole, with
Yeah, I think we
the
have, funny
lobby.
enough. Yeah, this doesn't...
The
Yeah.
two drivers that have come out the pits have, retired on track, although they're still showing in the pits.
Let's have a look in the chat. Oh, I don't know. But we do have 5 drivers in AI. So I don't know what's going on here. I don't know whether it's just us or... Oh.
Oh, it's gone black for me. No.
Yeah, same yeah. And we're back, but I don't know what happened there. That's very strange. I think we're probably going to have to... Yeah, we're going to have to restart, yeah. So...
Great game, Codemasters, as per usual.
Yes, that went a bit pear-shaped, didn't it?
Yeah, not sure what
Not
happened
the
there at
first
all.
bug we've seen today, unfortunately. Although one thing I will say is that over the last couple of years, they do seem to have reduced the amount of bugs that the game has, so which is good.
Well,
But
let's
while we're
talk
doing
about...
that, Nick, should we go through the standings while we're...
Yeah, sounds good.
So, obviously now we have had, so this is round 5?
Yes, round 5, yeah.
Yes, round 5. Sorry, I had to think that. And it's still all to play for in the P3 tier. So Jacob, despite comfortably really winning the first 2 races, he's had a bit of a dry spell, but he is still leading the championship on 71 points. Then we've got Mason in second place, and he's on 53 points. Berjak then is third on 48 points. Matthias on 47 points, then Jamie on 41, Hockey Nye on 31, and Jack Craig on 26. So it's very, very, very close. The constructors is even closer. So if we switch over to the manufacturers briefly. So Williams are currently leading the Constructors' Championship at the minute, and that is with Jamie and Mason. They've got 94 points. In second place, only 11 points behind on 83 points, is the Ferrari. And that is, of course, of Jacob and Fury Formula. And then in third place, you got the Kick Saubers, and they're on 53 points. So it's almost a battle for the front two for the constructors at the minute, Nick.
Yeah, it's looking incredibly tight up there. And you said Jacob's on a bit of a dry spell. I'd hate to use what words you would describe the spell that you and I are on in the P1 tier this season, Cole. The last two results has been third and second. So yeah, dry, but still obviously scoring those podiums, being consistent. Obviously we are going to have a lobby restart here, so ignore everything you're seeing on the screen. Let's talk a little bit about we got Bolton, who's joined new driver for this week. So big welcome to him. Only joined this morning, so great to have him here. Ride Dog Cole has moved down from the P2 tier to the P3 tier. So great to see him continue racing. Sorry, a little bit. So expect to see him near the top. And then we got Miles as well, a fellow Canadian who we interviewed earlier on the show, and pre-race show that was. And yeah, incredibly excited to be here. Never joined a league before, and you know, had very positive things to say about One Hub from what he's seen from the outside.
Yeah, I did manage to catch actually. We were driving back from Cambran, and my wife and I were listening to the pre-race show. And Miles, yeah, seems a very, very nice young lad, and great to have another Canadian in the league, Nick.
Yeah, and in this tier, there's two because Hockey Night is also Canadian. So a couple of them in this tier. So it'll be I know Miles is from Edmonton, so that'll be what if it's nearly 5? So that'll be about 9:30 in the morning. He's racing. I know when we interviewed him this morning, it was just after 5 o'clock. So but he said he doesn't mind getting up early in the morning. So yeah, fair play to him. But yeah, expecting nice to see that we're sorting out some of the grid issues we've had in P3 tier this season. Usually the standout tier in terms of attendance and respect and driving and all that jazz. But yeah, been a tricky one for us admins this season to get the P3 tier right.
Yeah, it has been, unfortunately. Oddly, P1 I think has been the. Does it P2? I think P2's probably been the best.
P2's probably been the most competitive and the most yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to get a bit more of a fuller grid now in the P3 tier, which is great, and it's just going to make the racing even more exciting. And one thing I will say is, yes, the attendances haven't been perfect, but the entertainment that we've had has been fantastic. It really has, and we've had multiple winners. Let's just have a little look to see how many. Let me remind myself how many winners we've actually had. So we had Jacob, who's won 2. He's our only driver who has won more than one. Mason obviously won in the Netherlands. Was it the Netherlands? Yes, it was.
Yes, yeah.
And then Burjax won last time out. What circuit was that? My brain's gone.
Italy, Monza.
Monza, of course, Monza. And a great result for Burjax. Unfortunately missed round 3, but back with a vengeance and put himself into the title hunt again.
Yeah, definitely. I think, we talked about after the first couple of rounds, Jacob hadn't put a foot wrong, and then we saw the next two, they were a little bit tricky for him, and he wasn't able to win the race. So, and I think since then you've got the likes of Quinn, Gaza, Max has shown some pace, Kinney, who's here. They're all, good drivers who can reach those podiums positions. So I think at the start of the season maybe he was looking like he would run away, but I think now he's got some serious competition. Matthias is having a cracker of a season. Burjax, on the TT leaderboards, he's right up there on my friends list. So plenty of drivers, and obviously he won last week, so plenty of drivers. And you look at Burjax, he's finished 3rd, 4th, didn't start, and 1st. So he hasn't exactly had a shy start to the season, and of course he won the preseason race.
He did, yes, which was Hungary, I believe. Yeah, he drove absolutely tremendously. I think Mason got pole, I think, and then Burjax did a good move on Mason into turn 1, which is not an easy thing to do around Hungary. Quite a difficult track to overtake. So it shows that Burjax has got not only pace, but he's got good wheel-to-wheel knowledge and ability as well.
Yeah, I think it's all shaping up for an exciting P3 season. I think the second half of the season is definitely going to be entertaining. And Jamie's saying we're ready to go. So we've actually got 16 now. We only had 15 I think, last time. So somehow we seem to have gained a driver. Maybe he wasn't
Gained
in the
Matthias, I believe.
game of ties. Okay, so yeah, third place in the championship. Sorry, fourth place in the championship at the moment by a point. The Swedish driver is here. So, Cole, let's talk about the rain. We know that qualifying is going to go wet to dry. Do you think we'll see drivers bother coming out on the inters, or do you think they'll just wait until it starts drying up? Could be a bit of a boring start to the session for us.
No, I think we're going to see drivers out there because I think drivers are going to use it as practice for the main race. I could see them putting, a hefty bit of fuel on board and using it just to get a bit of understanding of what the wet weather's going to be in the race. Because obviously some of these drivers, they've maybe not had an opportunity to get as much practice in today as they would have liked. So they might use this time wisely to try and get used to the wet weather a little bit.
And we know that obviously it's going to dry up in qualifying. Cole, it's going to be important to make sure you're out there, kind of the last stage of qualifying, last couple of minutes. Long track, so traffic shouldn't be too much of an issue. Do you think we'll see any drivers trying the DRS trains towards the end of the session?
I think, to be honest, because the dry session is effectively going to be so short, I think they're just going to end up desperately trying to get in laps. Now, in our practice session, we did actually manage to put 2 flying laps in under under slick conditions, but you have to time it right. And of course, you don't want to get held up by anyone. You don't want to find yourself getting yourself out of the way of other drivers either. So it's going to be a bit tricky for them. But of course, Nick, we do have drivers taking their engine and gearbox penalties today as well.
Yeah, so they're going to want to try and qualify as high up as possible because they're either going to have a 10 place or a 5-place grid penalty applied to them after we do a long restart after this qualifying session. So you'll see, hopefully the drivers will take to the track this time. And yeah, incredibly difficult pit lane exit here, Cole, in the wet conditions.
Oh, you're not kidding. I mean, when I did a bit of practice, this is when it was going from wet to dry. I decided I wanted to drive into the wall, which wasn't ideal. Luckily, damage was off for the practice session. But you do that in this session or do that in the race, that's your front wing or even your front wheel gone. So they're not going to want to do that. So going back to the car wear penalties, so just to let you know, so Jamie and Rydog are taking their engine penalties for this race. That's a 10-place grid penalty. Then we have Burjax, Mason, Jacob and Gazaman taking their gearbox penalties, which obviously is a 5-place grid penalty.
So plenty for them to think about, and plenty of work for the tier coordinator once this qualifying session is over. So a couple of drivers already fitted the soft tyres and just waiting in the pits. Kinney and Bolton are choosing to sit out by the looks of it. As a few other drivers, they just haven't fitted the soft compounded tyres yet. Of course, you expect to see drivers use that softer compound at some point. Looks like Jacob and Rydog are going to be our first 2 drivers to set a lap time. They were shuffling for position on their out lap whilst you were talking us through those engine penalties. So you got the Ferrari followed by the 2 Mercedes, and with Rydog in the Mercedes now, he's obviously moved down from the P2 tier. That Mercedes team is going to be a team to watch out for.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. We know the caliber of Burjax in this tier. We know the caliber of Rydog. He struggled a little bit in P2, so he's dropped down now into P3 tier, and I can certainly see him fighting for good points each race. But it's going to be difficult for these drivers. It's so slippy under these conditions. I got to be honest, I really enjoy this game in the rain. I think it's a lot of fun. Yes, it's slippery, but it's catchable, you know. There's not many auto spin sections like there has been on previous games.
Yeah, I think the bus stop is quite tricky in the rain, but like you said, you can feel the car and the rear particularly where it's going to go in the wet weather. So let's see how these P3 drivers get on. 16 of them here tonight. Good attendance from the P3 tier after some disappointing weeks. You've got pretty much most of the grid out there. Matthias is staying in, Kinney staying in with those softs ready, Jamie staying in, Jared Mason staying in, Bolton staying in, got the softs on, Fury is staying in, and Gaza is staying in the pit lane. So is that confidence, or is that just drivers that are thinking, I don't want to risk making a mistake and ending up damaging my car?
I think that's the key thing. I was speaking to Mason prior to the race, and I was asking him, "Are you going to go out on the inters?" And he said, "No, because I'm worried that if I make a mistake somewhere like Eau Rouge, I could end up in the wall with no tyre for very little reward and high risk." So Mason is considering the risks and the reward of getting a bit of wet weather practice in.
So Jacobs, it's a 55.5. Ride Dog was on a lap there, but went deep into the bus stop chicane, and that's obviously harmed his lap time. Burjax is going to come across the line. Now we saw how good Jacob was in the wet weather in Silverstone, so appears to be replicating that at the moment. But as I said, these laps, they're not going to mean anything in terms of the order, unless of course drivers fail to set up. Hockenheim is at 159. So unless drivers fail to set, a competitive lap time in the dry, then these are all null and void basically.
Yeah, that's the thing. You just, they're learning for the race, really. It's not obviously helping them in the qualifying session at all. Oh, as Ride Dog has a big snap under braking as he heads round No Name pretty much sideways. Quite spectacular to watch, but not very efficient. But it's going to be, I can't call this, Nick, because we've got the top drivers in the championship. They're taking engine penalties. The only one really in the top 5 who isn't is Matthias. Matthias, he's been very good in the rain in the past. I feel as though he's going to be looking for a good result here today.
Yeah, I think he will. Quinn's the last driver currently to set a lap time on Inters. But to me, it looks, although the track still looks wet in places, the rain has stopped from the onboards. So expect to see now some of those drivers who stayed in the pits and haven't set a lap time get those soft tyres whacked on the car and leave the garage. Obviously, the track won't be at full dry conditions now, so it won't be a track that is going to be maximum in terms of grip and in terms of pace. And you can see Quinn is still just tippy-toeing around as he starts the last second, sliding the rear of that car as he perhaps is going to get a little bit of a slipstream from the car in front. What a beautiful corner this is, this left-hander here, flat these days. But into the bus stop chicane. And is Quinn going to bail in on this lap? You can see the car in front, the Haas, goes completely off. So, no, Quinn completes the lap. Who was the Haas driver that was in front there? It was Max. So Max deciding to completely go off and then cut back across the track. I don't think the stewards are going to be that bothered. The track was empty. And it was probably the safest thing to do. So, Quinn sets the fastest lap. Obviously, his conditions were a lot drier than what Jacob was able to do, but as I said, here come the soft runners of Jamie is the first man out.
Yeah, so let's have a little look at Jamie then. So he's on his out lap. And Nick, it looks very dry, doesn't it? But what I've noticed, yes, it might look dry, but it's still very, very greasy. And there we see the DRS has been enabled. So in all fairness to Jamie, he's timed this to perfection, because this means he can do this lap, and I think he then have enough time to come back in the pit lane and have another run. He's got 10 minutes left. I think that's enough, Nick, to get back in the pit lane and have another go. And Mason is out on intermediates. That's not what he wants to be doing at this stage. He's on his out lap on intermediates, so I'm a bit confused by that.
I think he's forgotten to change it. As Jacob does a 151, so he did an extra in lap, cool down lap, and then he's gone for another quick lap on these inters. So strange decision there. It looks like JR Mason though is starting this lap hole.
Well, that is a daft decision, to be honest with you, because he should. If he came in the pit lane then onto softs, he would still just have enough time possibly to do another run. But this is wasted pace for him at the minute. I'm surprised he didn't come in the pit lane.
Oh, he's going to get held up here. No, that wasn't a nice place to get out of the way. But John, Upper Rouge, we'll keep an eye on him. It'll be a good comparison because his teammate is on the soft compounded tyres, so completely different type of tyre. Still a little bit sketchy in terms of getting through some of these low-speed corners with the grip. You want to stay tight here on No Name, otherwise you will get stuck on the outside. So Jamie, right over to the edge of the track. I think he's going to be the first man to set the lap. Is anyone else out on inters? Jacob hasn't come into the pits yet for his inters. Otherwise, everyone else, Bolton's out on softs. Oh, who's that in the wall? Your dad's in the wall, Cole.
And this is the risk. This is the risk. Well, what's happened here now? He's got front wing damage, but he has managed to avoid losing his front wing. So he should just have enough time now to come back in the pit lane, put some soft tyres on. Yeah, you can see, look at that. Absolutely no front wing whatsoever. And this is what I was saying. That being on the track then, on those intermediates, he was just much better off bailing the lap, coming back into the pit lane, and then putting the tyres on. Now he has got 7 minutes left. He's coming round now into the second sector.
Here comes Jamie, 149.3. So that's your first lap on those soft compounded tyres. Cole, who else is on a quick lap on? You got Kinney's on a quick lap. You got Riot Dog at the top of the hill. They go slightly deep. So the conditions are still tricky, Cole. But the softs are obviously the quicker tyre.
Yes, they're definitely the quicker tyre, but it's not easy for these drivers. The track is still greasy. You haven't got the 100% grip that you would normally do in a completely dry session, and the drivers are going to have to adapt slightly to these conditions. But you can see now the sun is starting to come through, so the grip is just going to get better and better from here until the end of the session.
Yeah, so Jamie, I think's played this, and Kinney as well, played this pretty spot on, because they're going to get 2 flying laps on these soft compounded tyres. Jacob obviously staying out there as Kinney goes quicker with a 142.8, so that's more what we'd expect, sort of lap times, possibly low 43s, mid 42s for some of the quicker drivers in the tier. Let's see what Bolton can do. He's on a quick lap now as well. Ride Dogs on a quick lap, so he's coming to the end of the lap. Let's ride on board through the bus stop chicane. Keeps it nice and tight through there. Second gear, gets on the power, a little bit late but sturdy. What's his lap time going to be? A 144.2, so just shows you the time difference between what we were on and what we are on now. Here comes Bolton right to the edge of the track there, Cole, getting close to the gravel. There used to be a house there, or a building of some sorts, been removed recently, so here we go, and Bolton lifts off slightly there. So I don't think this is going to be a particularly quick lap. I think he's gone. No, he's invalidated. So
yeah, he's also. I'm just looking at his front wing, Nick. He's lost his front right end plate, so he's disappeared in the wall somewhere. So I think he was pushing just to get back to the pit lane to be able to do another run. Because he's yet to set a lap time at this moment. Same as Matthias, same as Mason, same as Fury, although Fury does have a qualifying ban, so he will be staying in the pit lane. Gaza is yet to set a time, but he is out on track.
Yes, and Matthias is on a hot lap now. So I think those who came out early on, Cole, have played this right, because they're going to be able to get 2 runs in. Matthias, how long we got left in the session? I'm not sure he's going to be able to get 2 runs in here. Gaza potentially might be in the same situation. And obviously all those drivers, so Gaz is on the lap now, and I don't think these guys are going to get 2 runs in, Cole, so
No.
this is going to be interesting, because the track is just going to ramp up as Gazza goes quickest in the middle sector. It's going to ramp up between now and the end of the session. Oh,
Yeah,
there's a car in the wall. Who was that? A McLaren.
So that was Kinney. Kinney in the wall. In what I do must say, I do love that chrome McLaren. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Glad he's chosen that one, I must say.
I think he's on low fuel. I think that's why.
Yeah, I think he could be. I think he's run out of fuel. I think you're right there, Nick. But he's currently second. He is not going to have time to do another run, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We've lost our timing screen, so we don't know how long is left in the session. Well, I have on my screen. I don't know whether you have, Cole. So yeah, let's keep an eye on those timing boards. But at the moment, Burjack's last week's winner top. There's a McLaren off there, I think, or not McLaren, an RV possibly, getting out the way for Shiesty, who is on he's on an in lap now. So 3 minutes and 43 seconds. Drivers that are coming into the pits, Cole, as long as they leave with about 2:30 to go and absolutely cane it on their out lap, they will be able to get another lap time in. So what's Jacob doing? He hasn't come back out since he did those few consecutive laps on the Inters. J.R. Mason is just starting his lap, Cole, so this is this lap or nothing for him.
Yeah, this is do or die now for Mason. He's got Matthias up ahead. And I think Matthias is on a fast lap as well, so I don't think he'll catch him, which he's moved.
Has he moved over? He looked like he was moving over. He's back on the racing line.
Back on the racing line, so he needs to get out of the way rather sharpish. Matthias, the experienced driver that he is, does it perfectly. Good sportsmanship by Matthias there. Is this flat? No, he does have a little lift round Pouon, but it's this lap or never for Mason, Nick. So he's got to go for it, but he's got to have that element of caution, because if he invalidates, he's going to be at the back. Let's have a look. So his current best lap, well, no, he hasn't done a lap yet, has he? This is going to be it. It's a 1:15.2 in the middle sector. Solid, I would say, Nick.
Yeah, this is, unless he's fueled for 2 laps, Cole, but I don't think the tyres are going to be particularly in good shape to do 2 laps around this track. Obviously, lots of corners, a long lap. So let's see as he comes into the bus stop chicane, keeps it nice and tidy. He's going to want to get on the power nice and early. Does. Carries a decent amount of speed through the exit there. Gets on the power, but it's going to be a 43.7. So not where he wants to be. The top 2 are coming out for an out lap. That's Burjack and Kinney. Kinney, can he take possibly his first pole position in one hub? He's got his friend joining next week, Mr. Zontel. So all to play for here. Who's we got just moved up the order? Dr. Muse moved up to 11th place. Max is on potentially a quick lap. I saw in the middle sector. No, I think on a cool down lap potentially. Bolton and obviously Fury Formula has a qualifying ban. So Bolton, the last driver, is going to be setting a lap time here before we get the final runs in.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. Now, there's one driver who's not going to be happy with his current position, and that is Jacob, all the way down in 12th position. But he is on an outlap. He's got about a minute to get back round, so he should just time it pretty well, to be fair. I think he's got Mason just ahead of him, who will be hopefully getting out of the way as soon as... No, it's not Mason. I think it's a different... I think it might be Jamie. But Quinn's also on his outlap. This is going to get very tense now, Nick. This is all down to the last couple of seconds. Yeah,
so Miles is about to come across the line. And he sets a 1:43.3, so jumps up into 7th position, still way off Burjack's time. So it looks like himself, both Alpines could potentially be done. Dr. Mew won't be setting a quicker time. Jacob's just started his lap. Quinn has just started his lap, so he's ahead of Jacob. Who else we got going? Jamie's on a lap. He's behind them both. So far, he's the last driver to cross the line from what I can see. Ride Dog's on a quick lap now in the middle sector, so the qualifying. So you can see that Matthias, Mason, and Gaza, that's as quick as they're going to go. The top two, Verjax is going even quicker.
What a qualified for Berjax. This is brilliant. Can he sneak into the 41s here? That would be a tremendous achievement. Let's have a look. Let's see what he can manage to do here now. He's 6/10 up. 6/10 up. That's going to be, what, a 41.
Kinney's 4/10 up as well. Kinney's 4/10 up. So, and that's only after the first sector. So that could be a 41 as well. I don't know where the pace is coming from because I can't even do 41s, Cole. Ride Dog won't be improving. Bolton's retired. Miles won't be improving. Hockey Night won't be improving. So it's Jacob, Quinn, Jamie, and the top two. And Berjax does a 1:41.907. Incredible lap time. What can Kinney respond? Kinney's gone in the gravel.
Now he was just a 10th up, but he would have lost so much momentum down this straight now. He will almost certainly be not improving at all. But who else have we got? I think that's about it, Nick.
I think we got Jamie.
Jamie. Oh, he's run wide. That's going to be an invalidation. No, it wasn't. Not quite. Up into 9th place.
Yeah, and where's Jacob come across the line? Jacob comes across into 2nd. And where did Quinn finish in the end? So Quinn finished in 15th, so he must invalidate his lap time.
Yes, he must have done. So that's going to be. I think this is what Mason was worried about, and I think that's why he was slower than he would normally. He was just a bit cautious not to invalidate, and unfortunately, Quinn will start this race at the back, which is not going to be pleasing for him. He had a great qualifying session last week and a bit of a disaster of a race. He's had a disastrous qualifying. Let's hope he gets into a good position in the race.
Yeah, so incredible lap time there for Berjax. So Berjax takes pole position. Jacob in 2nd, Kinney in 3rd, Matthias takes 4th, JR Mason in 5th. So that lap that he did, sole lap, was good enough for 5th. Gaza in 6th, Ride Dog 7th, Miles 8th, Jamie 9th, Hockey Night 10th, Shiesty in 11th, Max in 12th, 13th is Bolton, 14th Dr. Mew, 15th Quinn, and 16th, obviously, Fury had a qualifying ban. Quinn can't seem to get it right at the moment. He's moved down, but is making unforced errors.
Yes, I think so. I think that is it. A bit of a disappointment, but there's still a long, long way to go. You know, we know how difficult it is in the wet weather conditions, so it's not going to be straightforward. Being at the back might not be all that bad.
Yeah, obviously this grid is all going to get mixed up when we go through the penalties. Obviously we have discussed them now, but some drivers are taking engine and new gearbox penalties. So 10 places for an engine and 5 places for a gearbox. So hopefully the drivers will ready up shortly. They will retire from this session, and then we will go back to the lobby. And we will get those penalties applied, and then once we've done that, Cole, we'll be able to run through the official grid.
Yes, of course, we do a lobby restart, so this is where the drivers will have a bit of fun, but they do have to retire from the session before the end of Sector 1, which is halfway down the Kemmel Straight, Nick, I think, for this particular circuit.
Yep, so Quinn showing us exactly how best to destroy his car. So Bolton is doing donuts, and Fury has been disqualified, and that is the session finished, and we can get back to the lobby to get these grid penalties and grid sorted out. So you can see safety car there actually racing with some of the Formula 1 cars. That's
yeah, just spotted that myself. I wonder whether we'll be seeing that today. It does look very wet, doesn't it?
What do you think, Cole, about drivers are going to be doing about their wings? Because traditionally, it's a very low wing circuit, same as Monza last week. But with the wet weather, they're not going to be able. To run those low wings. Or if they do, they're going to struggle in the wet weather conditions.
Yeah, they can't afford to to run low wings, really, but you don't want it too high either. You know, it's a balancing act, getting that rear of the car comfortable enough for you so that you can comfortably put your foot down and gain good traction out the corners, but you don't want it too high on the rear that you end up being a snail down the straight, because you're going to be a sitting duck, and you're not going to be able to overtake anyone.
Yeah, of course, no DRS in the wet weather. We know that it's going to dry up, or we think at some point during the race. So it's the conditions are set to wet, to overcast, to wet. So will it dry up enough for dry tires at all? What have the practice sessions been telling us, Cole? Although they are an approximate, of course.
Well, this is the thing. This is because it's been on approximate. Like I was saying earlier, it's quite interesting where I did one session, and the rain, the second part of the rain, so obviously it's wet, overcast, wet. That second wet weather didn't arrive. And this is where the drivers, this is the brilliant thing, and this is what I do love about it being on approximate. The drivers have to think on their feet. They know there's a chance that the rain will come, but it's no guarantee. Now, there's a guarantee that it's going to start off on intermediates, and it's almost a guarantee that at some point they'll probably need to switch to the dry compound of tyres. But there's no guarantee it's going to dry up.
Yeah, and of course it's mandatory to stop, whether it's wet or dry.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that drivers are prepared to do it, because the last time it rained like this and the race was in Silverstone, Cole, and we got caught out ourselves, didn't we, for going too long on the opening stint, and then the rain never really played the way that we thought it was going to.
We don't talk about Silverstone. We don't talk about it. I get sad. I get upset. It was, to say that it went pear-shaped is the world's biggest understatement. But this is the thing, because we had, this is where drivers like Nick and myself had good wet weather pace, but we got the strategy completely wrong, and it destroyed our races. So it's, this is where drivers have got to think. It's not just a case of how quick can I go. They need to get that strategy as best they can get it.
Yeah, they definitely do. I think it's all to play for here in Spa. Of course, drivers aren't fixed into their setups because we've done a lobby restart, so they can load whatever setup they feel is best. So Jamie's getting it all set up here for us in the P3 tier. Obviously, you've got the P2 tier later on, starting at 6 o'clock, and then the P1 tier at 7:30. So all will face these same weather conditions, and of course, there's plenty of penalties up and down the grid. Cole, you're one of them. Why have drivers picked Spa to be the place to take a new car apart?
Yes, so I've taken my engine penalty, so I'll be having 10 places on the grid. If I knew it was going to be wet, I probably wouldn't have chosen it, because I was banking on the good DRS usage down the Kemmel Straight, etc. So it's going to be quite tricky for these drivers now to overtake the ones that are out of position. The likes of your Jacob, Mason's having 5 places. I think Gazza's having a couple as well. So it's not going to be so easy for them. It's going to be more about keeping it on track, making less mistakes than the driver ahead. Now, one thing that I did spot in our practice session, Nick, was there were a lot of penalties considering, and I suspect most of them are poo-on.
Yeah, you run wide there, and the game will give you a track extend warning. And of course, once you get 3, you will get yourself a 3-second time penalty. I know if you cut the bus stop chicane, most likely the game's going to give you a 10-second time penalty as well. So, difficult circumstances for the drivers, but at the end of the day, they're all in the same position, and so they've got to manage it as closely and on the fly as they can. It's going to be an exciting race.
It certainly is. So, chat, who is your money on for this evening's P3 race? Who do you think is going to be taking the podium this evening? I'm going to certainly... Now, I'm just going to remind myself a second. Did Berjax have a grid penalty? I think he did a 5, I believe. Let me double check. Yes, so Berjax is 5 places back on the grid. So My punt for this evening's race is gonna be Matthias.
So you reckon Matthias is going to win this one? A few people in the chat saying Burjax. Obviously, that qualifying performance was pretty impressive. Jacob thinks obviously him, and you've got Riley, obviously former P3 driver, thinks Miles is going to win on his debut. So Waits thinks Quinn will win maybe. Vespertine Gaming, of course, one of our partners reckon Quinn could be a dark horse. So Ride Dog reckoning Mason. So great to see some of the P3 drivers in the chat whilst the lobby's being set up. If you are racing in the P3 tier, maybe tell us, how are you feeling ahead of the race? Were you surprised by Burjack's pace there in qualifying? And are you ready for the rain?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, that pace from Burjax. Now, I know that Burjax has recently transferred to wheel. And I got to be honest, obviously it's a lot of expense for it, but if there's anyone considering it, I really would recommend it. Not only do you get a lot more immersion, but you are quicker on wheel than controller. And certainly on this game, it seems to be more wheel orientated. But Mike, that's a bit savage. So Mike says, nah, Quinn will overthink it and mess it up. I'm calling it now. Well, there we are, Quinn. Let's see if you can prove our Mike wrong, is it?
Yes, obviously, Quinn has that pace. I think we're readying up. I don't know if we can see the grid, Cole. Can we see the grid from...
No, it won't actually let us
see the custom
grid. No, unfortunately not.
So the first time we see, obviously, Formation Lap can't be on because there's been issues with it. So it'll be once we load into the lobby. It doesn't really matter if what strategy drivers pick, because obviously, I guess it does. If they want a set of mediums, they'll want to select balanced. What tyres do you expect to be the favoured choice for the middle driest into the race?
I suspect mediums or hards. I don't expect to see any of the softs. From my experience, 4-5 laps, and then they're past their best already. So there might be a couple of drivers who want to take that risk, but I suspect that we'll see mediums or the hard tyres, I think.
Yeah, obviously both tyres good around here. The softs don't last too long in Spa. Obviously, it is a long lap call, so generally speaking, the longer laps, this Singapore, that's where you generally do see the biggest qualifying gaps across the season in terms of, between first and the bottom. And when you put, less laps for drivers to complete and qualifying because of the rain, it makes it even more gaps. But still, as you said, if that's the pace that Burjack's just show moving to the wheel, and he's racing next season, I can see him making a 2-tier jump.
Yes, certainly if he keeps that pace up. So any drivers now got the stream open, please remember your setups. Make sure you load your setup and do not ready up at any point. Just let the timer tick down. Now that gives all the drivers then plenty of time to sort their strategy out, sort their setups out, get their fuel sorted. Difficult to get your fuel right here, Nick. It's going to be, to be honest, pretty guesswork. Obviously, safety cars will help it a bit. Will we see drivers under fuel as a risk, thinking that there'll be safety cars? I can tell you who won't be doing that. Mason. After the misfortune of running out of fuel with 7 corners to go.
Yeah, I think that fuel's tricky here because you're going from wet to dry to wet. So in the wet, I found that you used more fuel, which is usually the opposite. And then in the dry was less fuel. But I think fuel does depend a lot on what assists you use, and also, how aggressive you are on that acceleration, on the acceleration zones. So yeah, it's plenty for the drivers to think about. Expect them all to start obviously on the intermediate tyres. You can see it raining. You can see in the McLaren garage they've got the intermediate tyres there ready. And you can see in the Ferrari garage they've got a front ring ready. So maybe they'll need it. 16 drivers here in the P3 tier, round 5 in Spa, Colin. We're almost at the halfway point of the season, and it's all to play for down to turn one.
Yeah, I can't believe how quick a season's going by. I got to be honest, I've enjoyed every second of it. I've had a few frustrating races from a driver point of view, but absolutely loved my return to One Hub. And this game really is, yeah, we know there's a few bugs, but it's so much better than the last game, and we're seeing that with the amount of interest that we've got here at One Hub. Obviously now we've got the 3 tiers, and you never know, we might be even to get 4 for the next season. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to find a new teammate next season, Nick.
Yes, I won't be racing next season due to calls. I'm going to be a dad within the next 10 weeks. Little Noah will be here. So I've already got his race suit, but these drivers have their race suits on in the wet weather condition. You can see there's a McLaren on pole and a Sauber next, so that's Kinney takes a pole position. The Sauber gets away poorly. That's Matthias. He was not ready for lights out. Here comes an Alpine into turn one, almost makes contact, manages to get the inside, get the better traction. They're going to go all the way side by side. You can see a Ferrari off in the background. That's Fury, and the McLaren does get ahead as we head up Eau Rouge. So yeah, not even enough time to run through the qualifying order there. And look at this, Miles is all over the back of Kinney. Further down, you're seeing Jacob gaining position. He looks like he's got some good straight line speed in that Ferrari on the run down Kemmel Straight. Cole, anything you picked up there whilst I get the bits and bobs up on screen?
Well, the 2 Red Bull teammates actually came together at the start around La Source with Dr. Mew. So they've had a bit of a nightmare, but they've only lost a couple of places. They're still back in it. I'm trying to have a look. I can't see any damage on either car. So not the best start, but they were down near the back anyway. Rydog is up 5 places. Jamie up 4. The biggest loser is definitely Max and Matthias. Max down 7 places. Matthias down 5.
Yeah, that was a great move there by Jacob down the inside, which became the outside, managed to carry more speed through No Name, and then obviously got the job done further on. So Matthias falling all the way down the order from second on the grid. Kinney has kept the lead now, stretching his legs a little bit. Jacob up to 4th, third. Jack's up to 3rd, so those two, we know they're super quick, and they are on a mission to recover. You can see that in the background, some of the rears of these Formula 1 cars are squirming. The only driver, well, 2 drivers who haven't changed position are JR Mason and Kinney. JR Mason now moving up, and look at this, he's getting proper tasty here, Cole. Down the back, there's some damage, I think, there.
I think that's when they run over the curb on the exit. I've noticed that on previous streams, as there's a Red Bull in the inside. There's Quinn on the inside of Jamie. Mason's down to 12th, not getting the best start that he needed, struggling a little bit in these intermediate conditions, as Jacob now into 4th place. No, Berjax has got him back. These two are having a tremendous fight.
Yeah, of course, they're dropping off slightly a second now. Obviously, no DRS. You can see the drivers all coming through this section of the track. Great section. Jacob's getting such a good run up Eau Rouge. Wonder if he's running lower wings. And the Mercedes just giving him enough room. Scooches to the inside into the braking zone. Who's going to be last on the brakes? Jacob brakes later. Berjax carries more speed. Is there enough room for both of them? Oh, what great driving, Cole.
Absolute perfection. So difficult to be able to leave room and cleanly fly in these conditions, because, and look at that, they're still side by side. Absolutely brilliant. He's Berjax on the inside of No Name. Oh, that would have been a risky call. Berjax says, no thanks, I'll wait a minute. What fantastic racing. The battles of old between Ferrari and Mercedes.
Yeah, what a great battle. Pure respect between those two. We saw that Miles got very close to Kinney at the end of the Kemmel Straight, so is he running lower wings? Will he look to take advantage in the dry weather? So we're on lap 2 of 22. Remember, not many laps here as Fury gets himself a first penalty. Let's just confirm to you that obviously everyone is on the intermediate tyres. Yes, they are. And you can see Jamie all over the back of Bolton now. Rydog in 8th, Sesti in 7th, Hockey Nye in 6th place. So one Canadian in 2nd, one Canadian in 6th. And you can see a bit of a train developing behind Bolton, and the gap is starting to split. You've got Quinn and Rydog, kind of the two in between those two trains.
And this is where it gets difficult because Jamie's not going to have the benefit of DRS down any of the straights here to be able to utilise that. So what he's got to do is he's got to make sure he gets a better exit, which he does there. Now, he's on the outside, he's on the racing line. Is he going to be able to go around the outside? And he does. Very, very good move there from Jamie on Bolton. That's a crucial manoeuvre for this race, Nick.
Jacob, again, so close to the car in front through a Rouge Col, and then is able to just slingshot that speed down this straight, the Kemmel Straight, of course, one of the longest straights on the Formula 1 calendar, and get the job done. So setting a purple first sector there, you can see on the track map. And you can see actually that always Miles has a little slide. I was going to say he's gaining on the Ferrari through the corners. So do we think the Ferrari's gone low downforce as he runs the 2008 Lewis Hamilton set up in that Ferrari? Kinney now got a new car behind him. Your championship leaders on a charge.
Yes, here they go. This is going to get very tasty because these top four, they look to be similarly paced. But it does look, Nick, like Jacob is running a drier setup, lower wings, looking at his straight line speed down the straight.
Yeah, it's impressive, and Gaza all over the back of Bolton. You can't, of course, tell whether the drivers are running none on their ERS or not. Gaza going down the inside. Bolton gives him room. Great driving and awareness there from Bolton. Tucks in behind the Red Bull and thinks he's a quicker man at the moment. I will let him scurry down the road and try and follow as closely as possible. You're seeing those gaps creep up now. Dr. Muse currently in last. Ferrari Formula has got up into 15th place, and you can see the rear of the car sliding. Let's jump on board with the top two, Colt, because as we go through the chicane, the McLaren's gone slightly deep, and here comes the Ferrari.
Yeah, here he comes. Is he gonna have a go down the inside into La Source? No, thinks better of it. Kinney, very important for him now to get a good exit. You can see he's almost covering it already. Now, let's see that straight line speed. I'm just going to have a look to see who's using. So, Kinney's got 30% of his ERS left. Jacob's got 70%. Is he going to use that down this back straight? Let's have a look. Look, oh, as we got, I think it was Berger's off at a Rouge. Yes, it was. And there you can see, already done. Jacob through into the lead of this race.
Yeah, he was able to carry. I was riding on board that time. He was able to carry a lot more speed through a Rouge, and then you can see through that series of corners, the McLaren's actually quicker. It's got that front end, but yeah, just the Ferrari is able to carry a lot more speed through a Rouge, and then every lap he's been able to get a pass done on one of the drivers ahead. So will he sail off into the distance? He looks to be doing so at the moment. We saw this pace from Jacob in Silverstone, and Berger's, obviously, who dominated that pole position, is under threat from Matthias rather than attacking Miles in third.
Yes, Matthias really had I don't know what happened at the start. I mean, it looked like he didn't move. I don't know whether he was a bit half asleep, not expecting the lights to go out. But he had a disastrous start. But he's brought himself back into this now, and he is hounding Berger's at the minute. Berger's not able to show his pace that he had in the dry, but we know the dry weather's coming. Has he still got a drier setup on, and this is why he's struggling?
Yes, it's looking greasy out there. The rain's still coming down, so no sign of it stopping, and it's getting close between Hockey Knight and Shiesty as we head into the bus stop. Shiesty got a warning there, tries to go down the inside. Hockey Knight just gives him room. Is there going to be room on the outside? The better grip on that side of the track, and is able to get the job done on Hockey Knight. What about the Mercedes? Is he going to try and take advantage? Down the inside into turn one, brakes late. Oh, makes contact with the RB. That was just a little bit late on the brakes, and losing the position back to Hockey Knight. Hopefully there's no damage on, yeah, he lifts off, doesn't fancy going side by side through a Rouge. And you can see at the top of the hill there, Shiesty sliding a little bit as well.
Yeah, that was, he didn't really plan on Rydog wasn't interested in overtaking Shiesty, he just wanted to get the move on Hockey Knight, but unfortunately outbraked himself and then hit the side pod No
I think
damage done to either car, I don't think.
the Mercedes has some right end plate damage. Don't know if you guys were able to see that on the Mercedes.
Oh,
He's got some
yes.
right, but I don't think that was from that incident because it was the other side of the car. So Jamie now coming to join this battle. Gaza, of course, long-time friends. Met in real life at Silverstone. I've met them both. As we head through this middle section of the track, Kinney's 1.6 now behind Jacob after 5 laps, and Hockey Night all over the back of Shiesty. Goes wide though, and has the rain stopped, Cole? I think it could be.
Yes, I think this is when the drivers are going to be considering when the best time is to box. Mason has got past Bolton, and he is catching Gaza at quite a considerable pace. He's a bit more comfortable now. These dry conditions have appeared, but when this seems rather quick to me to be drying up, Nick seems the dry weather seems to have come very, very early.
Yes, so we're only on lap 5. Jacob extending his lead, a 155.9, fastest lap of the race. Matthias is in. So Matthias has come in early. What tyres is he going to fit? Let's ride on board. I think this could be too early though, Cole. I think the track's too greasy. And who else is coming into the pit? Ride Dog. Obviously, he had to change his wing. I just think it's
Mason
a little bit too early. Hard tyres going on for Matthias, so God, I'd hate to be firing those up. Let's ride on board with Matthias through the pit exit. Let's see.
Oh, look at the understeer he's got. Look at that.
DRS enabled.
So difficult.
DRS enabled.
I take it back. This is exquisite timing by Matthias. Mason and Rydog decides to go on softs. That's a very, very interesting call. I was not expecting to see the soft tyres at all today. I'm just going through, easy flat through a rouge for Mason. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So it is certainly dry conditions now. Matthias, you've played an absolute blinder here. This could elevate him into the front.
Hockey Night went into the gravel on the exit there. He's been fighting Shiesty for the last couple laps. Jamie's just keeping a close look behind. Gazer as well. But that DRS was enabled incredibly quickly. And just saying in the chat, that is the beauty of approximate. And you can see Hockey Night struggling now on those intermediate tyres on a dry track. Tyre temps perhaps through the roof for some of these Inter drivers. And let's just have a quick look. What's Jacob going to do? We presume they'll all dive into the pits. How much has Matthias, Mason, Rydog, how much have they gained?
I think they're going to gain a fair little bit. Jacob is in. I expect all of these guys to come in now.
Miles stays out.
That, I believe, is a mistake by Miles. He does set the fastest lap of the race. Jacob now is going on the hard compounded tyre. There you can see it. Same as Kinney. He's going to go on the hard compounded tyre. Let's see where these drivers come out now. I don't think Matthias is going to quite jump them. But just having a look to see where Matthias is now. So Matthias going back to... He's not... I'm surprised. Let's have a look. Where's he come out? Yeah, look how much he's gained. Look, he is right now on the back of Burjack's. Hasn't gained as much as I thought. Obviously took a while for those hards to warm up, but they're going to be up to temperature far better than Burjack's.
Yeah, so let's keep an eye on the gap between Jacob and Miles at the moment. So Miles, the only driver other than Bolton choosing, and here comes Matthias down the inside, isn't able to carry that overspeed into the corner, and Burjack surviving this position for now. Interesting choice of tyres from Rydog and Hockey Night. They're going to be super quick on these opening few laps now. Perhaps thinking that the rain isn't going to stay away for long. We know it's coming back, but how quickly?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, but they need these the second part of the rain to come as soon as possible, because 5 laps, 6 laps, they're pretty much dead, and they're going to be really struggling then. So they've got to take advantage of this, and they've got to take advantage of it straight away. Look
at Hockey Night and Shiesty. They're like glued together here this round as Hockey Night goes wide again. And heading into this section of the track, you can see those soft tires, how much more grip they have. And Jamie just behind. So J.R. Mason gained big time from that, up into 8th position. I think he was 12th before the pit stops. So timed it to absolute perfection as Miles comes into the pit, and I think he's timed that, unfortunately, not so well. Bolton, we're hearing, did come into the pits, but unfortunately forgot to change his tyres from Inters. So the team put another set of those on. How far is Miles going to drop down the order? Remember, he was in, what, third or fourth before the
I think he was, third, maybe even, I think he was third place. He's now going to come out behind Quinn in sixth place, so he's lost an absolute ton of time as Rydog, unsurprisingly, sets the fastest lap of the race on those fresh, soft tyres.
Yep, J.R. Mason in between a sandwich at the moment of Rydog and Seisty. Let's ride on board with this. How much is Rydog going to lose down this straight? You can see J.R. Mason actually choosing to go a little bit on the grass there. It's got the DRS open, uses a little bit of overtake into the braking zone and is able to get the job done, but looks like parks it on the apex a little bit. Rydog, cleverly J.R. Mason parks on the apex, and Rydog has to back out of it. And skillful driving from the 70-year-old.
Yeah, that was very, very good. Not something I expected to see Mason overtaking somebody on the soft compounded tyre. He probably wasn't meaning to. He probably just wanted to, stick with him, but felt as though he had to go for it because he was going to get swamped by the cars behind.
I don't think I've seen Hockey Night make, is it Puon? Where you get the track extending warnings. Yeah, I don't think I've seen him make that corner yet, keep it within the white line. So Burjax is closed in on Kinney in second place. Quinn is up into fifth on those medium compounded tyres. And Miles in sixth position on the hard compounded tyres. And look at this, Shiesty is all over the back of Rydog. Is he going to send it here into the bus stop as Burjax sets the fastest lap of the race? No, the Mercedes brakes quite late. And actually closes in on J.R. Mason. So J.R. Mason's going to go from being the hunted to the hunted by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a sitting duck down the Camel Straight here. Oh, as Shiesty goes for a manoeuvre on Burjax, that, as Martin Brundle would say, that's a day late and $1 short. I think that was too late. And to be honest, probably not a sensible decision, although he will get DRS from Mason, I believe. Let's have a look.
Yeah, that was a bit late. Wheel-to-wheel contact on both the front and the rear, flashing on the rear of the car. So that means they're running none on Urs, I believe. And no, the Mercedes isn't able to get the job done. I think he'll be a little bit annoyed about that. Was that a dive bomb? Yes. Was it controlled? I think that's a matter for the stewards. As you see Hockey Night in the background going into the gravel. And Jamie on those hard tyres, looking like he's struggling to get him up to temperature a little bit.
Yes, now this is where these guys are going to be struggling, or start to struggle on these soft tyres. They're not going to be at their best now, as Hockey Night makes it through Puon, so that was good. It's such a horrible corner, really. Especially, in qualifying, it's relatively easy flat, maybe a little bit of a lift, depending on your wing settings. But in these conditions, it is so difficult.
Burjax all over the back of Kinney now, so expect to get the DRS, the flap on the rear of the car open. Of course, that will give you some extra straight line speed. You can see the two behind are Matthias and Quinn, so Quinn pressuring Matthias at the moment as well. Kinney 4 seconds behind Jacob at the moment, who's stretching his legs a little bit. Lap 10 to 22, no retirees so far. Bolton's still sticking with those inter tyres. We know the rain's coming again. It's just a case of when. What's the right strategy, Cole, as we ride on board with the Mercedes? Is it the hards or is it the mediums? We know the softs aren't perhaps the right call.
I think for me, the fact that this dry weather came so early, I would have certainly elected to go on the hard compounded tyre, because it could be quite a while before this wet weather comes back, and I think these soft runners are going to find it very, very difficult. Even the medium runners might find it a bit of a struggle towards the end.
So Matthias all on the back, wasn't able to get that move done. Quinn was able to get that move done. Matthias now all over the back of Quinn, and I think that's the tyre delta between the two. So Quinn's going to set off to Kinney now, and Burjax is going to try and use that pace he showed in qualifying to close in on Jacob. But Kinney, if he plays this right, Cole could be on for a podium on his second race in One Hub.
Well, yeah, wouldn't that be a fantastic result? And he's driving absolutely brilliantly. He didn't fight Bergerac too hard. He knew he was on the better tyre at this stage of the race anyway, and he knows the race is going to come back to him because he knows Bergerac will eventually run out of tyres, certainly before Kinney does.
So, Max on back of Fury Formula through this middle section of the track as Bergerac sets the fastest lap of the race on those medium tyres. Has closed to 4 seconds now. Under 4 seconds, it's just dropped between himself and Jacob. So Jacob not having all this way. Let's jump on board with Jamie, trying to go around the outside of the bus stop. Carries the extra speed. And look at these drivers. Just great racing, giving each other room.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Fair play to Hockey Nye there. He gave plenty of room. But Jamie couldn't quite get the move done. But you feel as though it's only a matter of time. Hockey Night does not have DRS to Rydog. Jamie will have DRS as he heads through Rouge Radion down the Camel Straight. DRS about to come on, and he's going to get it done quite quickly, Nick.
Yeah, it looked to me like Hockey Night running a bit more downforce than Jamie. The speed he was able to, Jamie obviously set a very good first sector with that DRS, can gain you 3-4 tenths, maybe even half a second. 4 seconds the gap hovering between the top two. Obviously Bergerac's on mediums, Jacob on the hard compounded tyre. Just jumping in the chat to say Wace said good move by Shiesty, just within it. And Mike replying that dive was Wace approved, so it's never late, on time always late. So a difference of opinion perhaps there on that move. I think it was into turn one, wasn't it?
Into turn one, yeah, into turn one. A lot of love for Puon in the chat. It is a fantastic corner. The fact that the speed that modern day Formula One cars can go around there baffles my brain. It's absolutely astonishing. As Rydog, he's really struggling on those softs. They are dead. He's 6 seconds behind Shiesty now, and Jamie is right on him. So yeah. I suspect Rydog will probably come in the pit lane now.
It looks like the hards are quicker, Cole, because Kinney is close back within a second of Bergerac's, and the gap is out to 4.5 between the top two. So Kinney's got his DRS back open now, and Quinn's not been able to catch too much on Kinney. So Kinney in the McLaren here on only second race in One Hub, Cole, showing some really good pace.
Really is showing fantastic pace. And yeah, it does seem that the hard tyre at this stage is the better tyre to be on. Rydog, he's boxed now and he's coming out on a brand new set of the hard compound tyres, but unfortunately all the way now down in 14th place. As we got a yellow flag in sector 2, sector 3, let's have a look.
That is Bolton, I believe. Had a little bit of a spin there. Had a little bit of a spin at the bus stop chicane. I think that ultimately this gamble of staying on these intermediate tyres hasn't worked for him at all. Still ahead of Dr. Mew, and of course don't forget you've got that fastest lap outside the top 10 that some of these drivers are going to be fighting for towards the end of the race. Kinney getting closer and closer to Bergerac's. And I think also Bergerac's keeping the gap similar to Jacob. So it looks like Kinney's just decided I've got a little bit more pace and I'm going to use it, Cole.
Yeah, sorry Nick, I was on mute then. Yeah, Kinney, I mean, he really is hounding now Bergerac's. He's going to be in the DRS now quite comfortably. I'm just looking at his battery. He's got 50%. Bergerac has got about 40%, so it's still very, very close on the ERS. But
look at Matthias. Look at Matthias. He almost made contact of the rear of Quinn's car into turn one. Are we going to see a move here? 4 tenths as we head up our roads. The DRS is going to be open soon. These two no strangers to racing each other, of course. Is Matthias finally going to be able to get this position on Quinn? Yeah, easy enough, isn't it?
Yeah, Quinn does the sensible choice there. It was an unwinnable battle, and he's better off now following him, picking up a bit of DRS from Matthias for a lap or two and dragging him a little bit further away from Miles. So Quinn showing his experience there of not fighting every single maneuver, every single move that comes his way. But
Quinn.
Kinney, he's got no straight line speed, Nick. He is really struggling to catch Bergerac down the straight, even with DRS.
Quinn made a mistake there on the exit, almost put it on the wall on the inside. You can see a bit of gravel still on his medium compound tyres. So that's why the gap's open up. So he hasn't been able to do as you said, Colin, keep within the DRS. Kinney closes through that middle section. Here we go, though. This is the closest he's been to Bergerac. Is he going to send it into the bus stop?
This would be brave. Let's have a look. He thinks about it. He's having a look. He thinks better of it. He knows DRS is going to be coming up. Oh, he made a little bit of a mistake in the first part of the chicane there. He's still got the DRS. But look at Bergerac's. See you later. Gone. So Bergerac's is running a considerably lower wing setup than the McLaren of Kinney. And let's just stay on board Kinney a sec as we head through Rouge. Oh,
yellow flags.
That's those soft tyres going off. Yeah, he's nowhere near close enough to even have a look at the end of the Camel Straight.
But he closes up in the middle section, so we know that, he's running higher wings, but proving that he can't get the job done at the moment. So interesting battle between two different setups. We can see Hockey Knight is having a mare, and he's coming into the pits to get rid of those soft compound tyres. Now, although perhaps they've made the wrong decision, they are the only drivers, I believe now, let's have a quick look, to complete their 2 stops. Yes, so Ride Dog, Dr. Mew has completed 2 stops, and Hockey Knight is completing his. So only 3 drivers to complete their 3-stop strategy at the moment. And we got more yellow flags, but I think they've been cleared. So no safety cars, no virtual safety cars. We saw 2 virtual and 1 full last week in the P3 tier. Max is on the back of Ride Dog now, so perhaps Ride Dog getting that position and Max hanging on. But yeah, really interesting strategies. When's the rain going to come? Lap 14 of 22.
Yeah, is it going to come? Is it going to do the same as it did in my little practice session on me Todd, where the rain did not come? The second part of the rain didn't come. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm staring at the screen looking for any raindrops. Haven't seen any yet, Nick.
He's kept closer here on the exit, has Kinney. Got that DRS open into turn 1. He's going to wait behind Colt.
Now this is the closest he has been all race. Is it going to be enough? I think the closest he got was about 7/10. He's now only half a second behind. Is that going to be enough for him to have a little look at the end of the Camel Straight? Here he comes, Nick.
Yeah, we got helicopter ruined by the bush, but we jumped on board, and you can see that time it was like taking candy from a baby. Not that I've done that, but yeah, the McLaren driver back up into second place. What good racecraft, good strategy, and good showing he's having. Miles, by the way, has been closing in on Quinn over the last few laps. Quinn's been struggling a bit on those mediums, so as Axlock is saying in the chat, the hards are now the preferred compounded tyre.
Yeah, they certainly are. But I'm just thinking now, is this rain gonna come? Is it just gonna stay dry? Which means that these hard runners, they're probably gonna wait until they go on the soft tyre. I'm just looking at Quinn's tyre now, and it doesn't look in very good nick, to be honest. I think the mediums, they are gonna start to struggle now.
Yes, I think they are. So they're going to be hoping this rain comes as quickly as possible. Yellow flags in Sector 3. I think that might have been Bolton coming into the pits. So pit lane limiters on. He's going to hopefully go on to some dries and then hope that it doesn't rain. They must be hot as hell. I think Fury's also just come out the pits. So Dr. Mew now coming through the bus stop chicane. And Kinney closed a couple attempts that lap on the race leader, Jacob. So this race might not be over. Miles, his pace looks rapid at the moment as well on these hard compounded tyres. You can see how much he's gaining on the two in front. Half a second he's gained on the exit of bus stop.
Wow, I mean the pace. I'm just looking at Mason as well. Mason's actually been catching Miles as well. At one stage, he was 7.5 seconds behind Miles. He's got it down to 3.8. Miles is almost within DRS of Quinn. Nick, these mediums, they're pretty dead.
Yeah, and who's the car in front of Quinn? It's an RB, so that's going to be Dr. Mew, who gets out of the way. Oh, and yeah, the yellow flag I think was from Dr. Mew getting out of the way. So getting out of the way of those two cars, and you can see Miles now within DRS of Quinn. Of course, Miles on his debut here, his first ever league race ever, Cole.
Wow.
And Quinn, obviously, a man who's got a few kilometres under his belt.
He's, for somebody who's doing his first league race, this is an incredibly impressive drive. Nick, I can see rain. I can see the rain. The rain is starting to fall with 6 and a bit laps to go.
So here we go. Mark predicted lap 15 to 17, and it's coming. How quickly is the rain going to fall on the track? And you can see that Bolton has actually gone for that set of intermediate tyres again. So choosing that he wants to run the whole race on those inters, just in case Fury's on those inters as well. Burjax is into the pits, so this is a bit early, but if he felt the tyres were dead, he had to pit at some point, so perhaps he feels that the inters, yes, he's going on inters.
Yeah, I think he felt as though he had to because those mediums were pretty dead.
Quinn follows.
Now, I think that's going to be too soon, but I don't feel as though he had much of a choice there, really, to the state. Gaza now, is Gaza going to do the same as his teammate? I'm almost certain that those two are in a party chat together. No. So Gaza decides they're going to split the strategy a bit, and he's not going to box yet.
So you can see that Quinn exits the pits on those intermediate tyres, as does Burjack. So it's just a case of when the rain comes. It's such a long lap, Cole, that, you know, as we saw in the first, when the rain stopped, the DRS was enabled, you know, in the opening part of the lap, and drivers who hadn't boxed had to do a whole lap in dry weather conditions. So, you know, if DRS is disabled and it's time for inters, these guys are going to be, you know, enjoying the second half of the lap. But at the moment, to me, it looks like we're not too close.
No, I think it's a couple of laps away yet. I'm just having a look to see if Berjak is making any ground on Mason. And he isn't really. In fact, I think he's losing a little bit. Yes, he is. So it is too early at this stage. And the problem that Berjak is going to have is that he's going to be burning these intermediates up. Something horrible. So that when the rain does come, he's not going to have tons of grip. Yeah, he's lost half a second to Mason there in just a couple of corners.
And you've got Shiesty on new mediums, 2 lap olds, I should say, all over the back of Gaza. So Matthias is in the pit now on those, from those hard compounded tyres. What's he going to go on? And, you know, Miles is coming into the pits as well. So these drivers, Mason's in, they feel it's wet enough, Cole.
So they're going to give it a go now. So they're probably having Mason probably saw Berjak's behind him. Now, is Jamie going to box? He's 14 seconds behind, so he's got time. No, Jamie continues on to another lap. We know that they're in a party chat, so they would have been talking that over. But I still think it's a bit early.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that it is a little bit early. You can see that Miles has come out ahead of Quinn, so there's been no undercut there. But how long is the pit lane at the moment? Cole, around this track, 23 seconds the gap between Burjax and Kinney. Further on is obviously Jacob. He's got that time in hand to, you know, think about what he wants to do. But Jamie, out there on these hard compounded tyres, you know, could be on the right strategy here.
Yes, I think he probably could be, but I think now, I mean, is it even now? I mean, has DRS been disabled?
I don't believe so. I saw Jamie using it down the pit straight. So yeah, not disabled by the looks of things. So, and he doesn't look that wet either, Cole, to be honest.
It doesn't, does it? It really doesn't. I think Jamie's played a blinder here. I don't think he's going to gain any places as such, because he was quite a while behind his teammate. But that gap is definitely going to be a lot closer. You can see he's catching Miles. He's almost in Miles' DRS.
Yeah, he is. Just about a second now, hovering. So, is this a crossover point? Is this the point where, you know, the Inters become quicker? I just don't think so by the looks of the track. Jamie's gonna go through the ghost there of the RB. Is he gonna come into the pits now? Yes, he does. So Jamie deciding now it's time. So the feedback that maybe Mason's giving him is that it feels good. Obviously, it's difficult for us to tell. We know that Burjax is falling back from Kinney, and Jamie's going to fall down the order now. So Shiesty's still on those medium compounded tyres, the freshest dry tyres out there. No, sorry, Max is also on new mediums as well. So just different strategies going on here, Cole, and you know, a lot of the drivers feeling that they'd rather go on to the Inters than stay on worn tyres.
Yeah, exactly that. Now, the top two, I'm just going to have a little look to see. You know, everyone bar the top two have completed their mandatory 2 stops. Shiesty there, you can see in 8th place, is on mediums. Rydog's on hards. I think Rydog is going to be struggling quite soon on this. It must be so difficult. But he seems to be handling it quite well. Burjax is starting to gain on the front 2. So I think
Jacob's
now maybe
coming in. Oh, he cuts the pit lane entry there. Not sure what the steward's rules is on the pit lane entry, but cut it. Kinney is following him in, takes the pit lane entry correctly. And Burjax is now heading towards. I feel like these two have got Burjax covered, as Bolton gets a time penalty further down the field. Fury's come into the pits and gone on soft compounded tyres, so he's going to try and get the fastest lap outside the top 10. Very clever that he better to do it now than before it's too late.
Yeah, that's a very clever decision, I think. Probably a couple of laps too late, but worth a punt, as Burjax now only a couple of seconds behind.
Almost hit that inside wall there into the rear, stepped out on entry to braking, so perhaps needs to adjust his brake bias. So everyone now completed their 2 stops, Phil.
Yeah, so now it's all about survival now for the last couple of laps. And in these conditions, Nick, it's so easy to make a mistake. You know, you've had dry running, you've got used to where you want to brake. You've now got to adapt. You've got to brake a bit earlier. You've got to put your foot down a bit smoother. You can't be so aggressive, especially through a Rouge and Radion. You've got to have a little bit of a lift. But Jacob seems to have been controlling this race. He said, Nick, that he was... Obviously me, he said, and at the minute he's true to his word.
Yeah, I think he enjoys these wet weather conditions. We saw that in Silverstone earlier on in the season. Didn't make a mistake with the strategy. But Kinney's been right there with him all the way through. Did lead this race for some points. So, you know, fair play to him as well. If he's able to finish there, Burjax obviously took that storming pole position, but hasn't had the pace in the dry to follow suit. Matthias in 4th, so continuing his championship charge at the moment. But lap 20 or 22, there's still plenty to go here. The rain's going to come down harder.
Yeah, that's the thing. This rain is only going to get worse now. It's going to get... Oh, as we got a yellow flag in Sector 3, that's
Burjax! And he's reset to track. So Burjax has spun it. I don't know if he's got damage. Can't tell. It won't let me change camera angle.
Yes, he has. He has lost his entirety of his front wing. He's going to have to box, and he will also get a penalty from the stewards for resetting to track, because that is not allowed.
Somehow Matthias got a penalty there as well. Oh, he's continuing on, Cole.
Well, that I'm very surprised at. I'm really shocked by that. Because he's going to have no grip whatsoever, but it's only a couple of laps to go. I suppose for him it's probably worth it, really.
Yeah, if you can try and keep the cars behind on the straight, where else can they pass in these conditions? So a ruse is going to be horrible. Let's see him lift He does a cut, so maybe takes a warning. Maybe he's got a couple warnings, but I feel like these positions he's going to lose from Miles and Quinn. Quinn closed all in on Miles, by the way. So Miles up into 4th position there. Can he get within 3 seconds of the tyres to try and get a podium on his debut? Let's wait and see. But for now, Quinn's stuck behind.
Yeah, Quinn is stuck behind. He's going to go for it. Oh, he spun!
It wasn't the place to go for, I don't think, was it, Cole?
No, I don't think so. I think he should have been a little bit more patient there. He's damaged his front wing as well. DRS has finally been disabled. Yeah, I'd have to see it again, but I don't think Quinn was quite far enough alongside. I'm really not sure.
Yeah, obviously the rule is 50% at the point of turn-in, so should he be left more room? The stewards will have to take a look if it goes to the stewards. You can see the 2 Haas drivers changing position down the back, both still on dry compounder tyres, so maybe shuffling for that fastest lap. Jamie's on the back of Shiesty and Rydog, who are both still out there on the dry compounder tyres, so expect him to gain those potentially 2 positions on the last lap. Doesn't look like Miles is going to be able to close that gap within 3 seconds. Burjax, is he going to be able to hold on? I think he will. That's a back marker just there. They're starting lap 22. Jacobs already completed the first sector. And who's that spinning in the background at the bus stop chicane? I think that might...
I think it's Bolton. Yeah, it is Bolton.
So yeah. Shiesty all over the back of Jamie. So Jamie's got that position. And now he's under attack. Is he going to be able to get Rydog? No. So I think there's been a little bit of an incident there, because Rydog was pretty close to these two. But last lap, long lap Colt on dry tyres, 10 lap old hards. It's not going to be very enjoyable.
Yeah, this is going to be quite a nervy couple of laps, especially for the likes of Berjak, who's still struggling along with his damaged front wing. He really is struggling there. You can see the chronic understeer he's got, and both Quinn and Mason are catching them. But I don't think they're going to catch them quite enough. I don't think.
2 Haas drivers completely struggling for traction as they start their final lap. But let's jump over onto Jacob, because he's just played it all right again, hasn't he, Cole? He had that straight line speed when he needed it. Here he comes into the bus stop chicane, and he's gonna take his 3rd win of the season as he heads towards the line. The Ferrari man having a little weave and takes a checkered flag. But let's talk about Kinney, Cole. 2nd race in 1 hub.
Oh, what a brilliant drive in such tricky conditions. Played the perfect strategy. There he is, crossing the line. A fantastic P2. Matthias continuing his tremendous start to this season and crosses the line in 3rd place. Does get a penalty. It ain't going to matter.
Yep, because Miles is going to come across the line in 4th position on his debut. Big well done to him. You can see Burjax struggling with the rear of the car, having a little weave as he comes across the line. Quinn is going to follow in 6th. Jeremy Mason wasn't able to catch in 7th. Jamie all over the back of Rydog. Is he going to be able to do anything? No, he's caught 3 seconds this lap. Oh, is he going to be able to do him on traction? Come on, Jamie, get that power down.
Oh, this is going to be close.
He got him.
It. What a move, Jamie! Wow. What a fantastic comeback that was. I wasn't expecting that. Absolutely brilliant.
So, we'll wait for the rest of the drivers. Now, we've got to go quite quickly because, obviously, the P2 tier are starting very shortly, so those commentators are going to want to, get the show on the road. So maybe we'll choose our driver of the day whilst we're waiting for these drivers to complete their lap. We've got the 2 Haas drivers to come through. Cole, I'll let you do the honours first.
Mine has got to go for Kinney. It's very, very easy for me. What a brilliant result for Kinney. So my question for you, Kinney, is how delighted are you to get a podium on only your 2nd 1 hub race? Well done.
Great nomination. He was one of my 2 picks. My Sim Racing Setups driver of the day, his choice is going to be Miles. So Miles, getting fourth position on his debut. Miles, first league race ever. Did you enjoy it, or was it a bag full of nerves all the way through?
Yeah, they're really good nominations, I think. Both very, very deserving. Um, but what a difficult race that was. Um, yeah, Jamie there, look, most overtakes and cleanest driver. Brilliant from Jamie there. He would
Do you
have
want to
been.
run us? Sorry,
Yeah,
Cole. I was
here
just
we
going to say,
go.
do you want to run
Sorry,
us
yeah,
through
we
the
haven't got
order?
time, have we?
Yeah.
Jacob is our winner. Then we have Kinney. Matthias completes the podium. Miles in fourth. Burjack's in fifth. Quinn in sixth. Mason in seventh. Jamie in eighth. Rydog in ninth. Gazaman 10th. Max 11th. Hockey Nye in 12th. Shiesty in 13th. The Fury Formula in 14th. Bolton in 15th. And in 16th, we have Dr. Mew a lap down.
Jax and Shiesty getting the two fastest lap points, one for inside the top 10, one for outside the top 10. Thrilling race, no DNFs there, Cole. That was enjoyable. Mixed weather conditions, always give us a bit of entertainment. So P2 tier is starting very shortly, so best of luck to all the drivers taking part there. Cole, we best thank our sponsors just before we go. So big thanks to SimGrid, who we run our championships through. Vespertine, of course, who provide our merchandise and some of the prizes that drivers can win in the Drivers' Championship this season. Next Level Racing, Colt, been a great support for us over the years with their stands and sim racing setups. Sim racing full kits. And then you've got Sim Racing Setups, who you can get discount using our code, and of course win vouchers to get their F1 setups and much more. And then of course Pure Sim Gear, where you can get your sim racing socks and sim racing gloves. Cole, final thoughts before we go.
What a fantastic race, and some of the best wheel-to-wheel driving I have seen throughout the whole of One Hub, including, P1 and P2. Absolutely fantastic, and I'm looking forward to seeing that next Friday in the stewards stream, looking back through some of the fantastic manoeuvres we've had.
Alrighty, well, thank you everyone for watching. Best of luck to the P2 and the P1 drivers later on. They'll be taking on the same track, same amount of laps, same conditions, of course. So best of luck to all of them. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Colin and I will be back next week for Baku. Good night.
We will indeed. See you there.